think that should work. I think we're gonna go live. All right, as long as this puppy behaves himself, we'll be okay. Let's take a look and look at our socials, make sure it actually is live before I launch into this. Let's see. And where we should be. That is Twitter, and that is YouTube. All right. Oh, let's hit the record button. Oh, I guess we can't do that. All right. I think we're live. I'm going to go into this. I'm going to sum up everything that we did in Singapore and like these two conference events that we went to. Talk in general about what all we did. Yes, it's on live on Twitter, X, and YouTube. And I'll be monitoring the community chat to see any questions that come up. And let's go into it. All right. So we'll start with, I'll kind of go as chronologically as I can. I think that's probably the best way to do it. It's an easy way for me to collect my notes. And I've also got a slideshow. Let me go into slideshow mode and share that. Yeah, there we go. Actually, before I do that, let me just go one last check. Copy, put that over here. This, and we'll just wait for some people to catch up. Yeah, perfect. There we go. All right. So thanks everybody for joining us. Let's take a look. I'll see where I share my screen here. And that would be all right. You should be seeing that. Perfect. All right. So start off with this. Andy arrived on Monday, and he attended a few different pitch events on Monday and Tuesday before I showed up. The first one was the one that everybody saw. We won first runner-up at the BGA Game Dev Showdown. The first place went to Straight Shot, which is done by iBlocks. These guys have made a pretty cool-looking game, and they've actually reached out to us through Twitter to ask if we can partner up. And we said, obviously, you're first place winners, but we came in second. What it means is we won about $3,000 worth of marketing services, which is helpful, and we're going to find a way to use that. We haven't determined. There's some selections we can make about how we spend that $3,000, but we're going to make sure we make the most of it. But some things to know about that event. Sebastian Bourget, who is a co-founder, I think, of BGA, but certainly that's co-founder of Sandbox, or CEO of Sandbox. He was there. Nicholas Porad, if I'm saying that right. He's a VP from Ubisoft. He was there as well. So a couple of big names got to see the pitch that we did. And I think that one there was a little longer pitch. The second group was a bit shorter. Andy had a pitch inside of 3 minutes on Tuesday. So, but that was Monday. And on Tuesday, as I said, Andy pitched. It was an event sponsored by Render, if I remember correctly. And there were 10 different VCs in that group. Brevin Howard, Spartan, Anna Mocha. They all got to hear the pitch, and he had to do it in like 3 minutes, which is, a task to do since we do so much with YOM. He met the what he calls the OG of DPIN, but Jules Urbeck. And he met him and talked to him for a while as well. So we've made some initial contacts with all those folks. We got some calls to make with those groups both. But it was a pretty intense event with those 2 days for Andy. He was flying solo, but if you know Andy, he has no problem doing that. I arrived on Wednesday at it was like 6 o'clock in the morning when I got into the airport. And the event starts on Wednesday. So the actual true conference for Token2049 started on Wednesday, and it was Wednesday and Thursday only. It was just side events that Andy had gotten to. But I arrived at 6 a.m. I got about 2 hours of sleep, and then went out to the peak booth to set it up. Let me just say first, before I go into the conference stuff, Singapore is amazing. Like Singapore is I had been there about 20 years ago, so I was a much younger guy. My memory is very vague. I was with the Navy at the time, so just a bunch of sailors kind of bumming around Singapore. But this trip got to see a little bit more of it, and man, what a fantastic looking city. And from what I'm told, it's had a huge revitalization in the past 20 years, especially, but maybe going back a little bit further than that. So if you're looking for a destination city to go and visit, I think the Singapore would certainly get on my list. And the conference itself was much bigger than any of the other conferences I'd been to this year so far. It was bigger than the Token2049 in Dubai. It was probably maybe twice as big as the Dubai one, and 3 times as big as Consensus. I mean, the show floor was 3 floors of just nothing but booths. And what was interesting was, as opposed to some of the other conferences where they, you can get away with just going to the side events. The main conference hall was packed full of people the entire time. I mean, it was a constant, like really, really full of people. I think Consensus kind of surprised me on how how many people just attended the side events and didn't really get to the show floor. But in Singapore, that was not the case. So the show floor was constantly full. And then the other big takeaway was DPIN was mentioned everywhere. It was really the dominant narrative. I think we're fortunate to be in the space, but everyone's kind of catching on that DPIN has a real world use case for blockchain technology in a way that we really haven't seen as much. I can't really say fintech has a lot of stuff going on still too, but DPIN was certainly very, very strong, and maybe it's just got a lot more momentum because it's kind of new kid on the block. All right, so where were we seeing? On Wednesday, I spent most of my time at the Peak booth, and Andy circulated, meeting with some VCs and setting up follow-on conversations, right? So I was at the booth. I was showing the node off. I had the node set up. Not as many people wanted to see the demo as wanted to just talk about DPIN in general and what we're offering, how to turn their gaming PC into a moneymaker for them, which is still a pretty good, still a really nice conversation to have. And there wasn't anybody who was just like, oh, that'll never work. Everyone you talk about says, this is great. I got, one use case that I had downplayed myself in talking about it before was the running it headless. So everybody knows with our node, you can run the node, you run your computer just kind of overnight for 8-12 hours, something like that, and earn quite a bit of money. But the best use case is when you have a computer that's dedicated to running the node, and then you set it up running 24/7. I expected that use case was going to be not used as much, but turns out I had a couple of people tell me that, oh, I've got this old gaming machine that I don't use anymore. It's got a 3070 in it, or it's got a 3090 in it. So they would still do really well, and it's better for our network entirely if there are more people doing this, running their nodes 24/7. So it's a use case I really hadn't considered, the idea that you have an old gaming computer that you don't use anymore. Anyways, that was brought up a few times, and I appreciate, I'm pretty excited about that as well. Looking at my notes so I don't lose track here. So did you talk about that Wednesday afternoon? So the Peak booth itself was in a great spot. It was kind of at a crossroads. It was on a corner, and if you came in through one door, you walked right past it, and if you came in from a different door, side door, you walked right past it. So it was at a really good intersection, and it got a lot of traffic. It also had a Tesla parked on it, which of course grabs everybody's attention as they talk about solar charging and the DPIN setup for solar charging. So it was a pretty good location and easy to find. I actually found it pretty quick as soon as I walked in, I ran right into it. And this location, another reason I know the location is being great was I ran into our partner from FIO, Wayne. I run into him, and now this is like the 4th conference I've run into him. So he walked right past. We got in a conversation with him. Crypto Banta found us, and we did a quick interview with them. Brian Rose, if you're familiar with London Real, he was at the conference too. Now he didn't come by, but I actually bumped into him walking through the convention floor. But we actually pitched to London Rose about a month ago, not to Brian Rose, but to one of his scouts. And I said to Brian that, hey, we've pitched to you guys once before. He said he's gonna check in on the guy that we pitched to. He knows who it is. And then I re-engaged both of them on Telegram this morning. So hopefully that'll keep us going with London Real. I think it'll be a good place for us to get noticed. And then my panel actually was on Thursday. So on Thursday, it was a panel that Peak asked me to. Well, I guess Alex Massari was hosting it, and then Peak put our project up as one of the projects they'd like to have represented at the talk. And I was there with 2 other guys, Brent from Mapmetrics and Sim from FarmScent. Right? Mapmetrics is a DPIN for mapping in a way that's better than Google Earth or I guess Google Maps, Google Earth. And then FarmScent is a DPIN that's built to help farmers get their food to markets quicker and manage their farming needs, I guess. I didn't talk a whole bunch of Sim, but he's obviously a smart guy. So I feel like a couple of things, right? Peak put a lot of trust in us to ask us to speak on the panel and to show like the I think what they were trying to do is show the range of what deep in projects can be. So that was kind of nice, and it was nice of them to put their faith in us to show up. The focus of the talk was it was a lot about like why are we involved with Peak and what's so important about their layer one as opposed to others. And the agreement, and again, this video will come out, I'm sure it won't too long, but what the agreement is being involved in a layer one or a partner that is solely focused on DeepIn is just beneficial to all the different projects that are in DeepIn, right? We if we have a feature that we need and we talk to other teams about it, then it's very likely we can get that feature built into, because their chain is modular, right? They can have different features added into their chain. So that was a big importance. I mentioned it, but actually I think the second one to mention, I think another project mentioned the same thing. We both are thinking the same thing, that having it, having access to other DeepIn projects, because we'll use DeepIn for storage and some other reasons as well. But having access to all their DeepIn projects on the same network, and then having features added in when the group decides this is a feature that the layer one needs, we can get it added in pretty quickly. All right, what you doing? Yeah, let's not distract us. Okay, I'm live already. Okay, we gonna throw up? That would be unfortunate. Let's move on. Where was that? My notes. Oh, yeah, I should mention this. So again, as I said, FarmSense their mission is to make sure that the way they say it is their mission is to make sure that no one goes hungry. Food scarcity is a real problem in many parts of the world, and their DeepIn is built to help alleviate and solve some of that. So it was quite the dichotomy to have. They're talking about something very serious, and I'm not going to take away at all from what their mission is, because obviously I live in farm country, and I believe in that as well. But to have the farm message and let's make sure nobody starves on one end of the stage, and then me on the other end saying, yeah, but also have fun and play games and earn money from your gaming rig. That it felt a little awkward, I guess, because I'm talking about having fun and he's making sure that nobody starves. But we all kind of agreed that it's good that it's a large range in what goes on in the DeepIn case. Let's see what else. So I mentioned this story because I thought it was kind of interesting to see. And this is it speaks to the reason why going to conferences is so important for us and for other projects as well. And I'm going to go into this a couple different ways. So on Wednesday, Jamie Burke, who is the founder of Layer Ventures, Yort and I had a conversation with him maybe 2 months ago, or some point in the middle of the base camp we were in. He was looking for information about DeepIns, and he's formulating a thesis and wanted some insight from what we were doing and how we saw it. We talked for maybe about an hour, but again, this is a little while back. Well, I found out that he was speaking on Wednesday night at one of the last talks on the panel, one of the last talks for Wednesday night. So I went out to see it. I sat right in the front because I just, better for me to get a good seat. My eyes aren't great. And Jamie kind of caught my eye. He saw that I was there and kind of gave me a wave, which I was kind of surprised that he remembered me, but didn't think much of it. When that event was over, I met up with Andy. They were having a big social at the conference center still. They were having a big social event just to get people to mingle more and talk more, and they were serving beer and all this. And so Andy and I were there for a little bit. And just as we were getting ready to take off, Jamie actually showed up and tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, let's talk. And we spent probably, Andy and I, a good 2 hours, I guess, talking to Jamie and his buddy that was with him. And we really weren't talking business. We were talking, we covered music and travel and family and all this different stuff. It got along with him real well, gave him a sense of who we are and what we do, but really not about the project itself. He already knows what our project is. I mean, we were in his boot camp. It was more about getting to know the guys, the person, let him get to know us. So, and then I parlayed that into another day. On Thursday night, there was a event that was celebrating that Borderless Capital had closed their $100 million fundraising round, so they can start going out and back in projects. And hold on 1 second, I'll make sure the dog's not chewing something that he's not supposed to chew. What do you got in your mouth? What do you got? Oh, that's not for you. Nope. Exactly what he's not supposed to chew. Bottle cap. Okay, nice toy. I don't know where they came from. Get your chew toys. Anyways, on Thursday night, hung out with a lot of the guys at this event for Borderless. Hung out with the guys from OD, the guys from Peak, and some guys from Borderless. And it was a good conversation. But again, really kind of the point of these events is not just to talk business. When we you'll hear it oftentimes when talking about partnerships and investors and everything, that investors invest as much in the personalities of the people running the companies as they do the ideas, right? Because if they're going to be in it for a long haul, they want to be sure they can get along with that person, and that person's an honest broker. That project's an honest broker, and that's kind of how it went with these events that we're and going to Singapore. We had much more time with the Peak team, which I've gotten along with Martin and the guys at Peak, Leo, really well every time we've met them. But this is even more time with them, and then first time really getting to hang out with a lot of these OV guys. So it's said this way: if you've ever been in a corporate setting where the guy who's coming to talk to you is immediately talking about what he's trying to sell you, or take it even more, go to a car lot, right? And you're going to buy a car, and the salesman is immediately hitting you with all the details about the car, but hasn't yet asked you. Like, the good salesman will always first ask about you, your family, where you come from. They'll try to break down that wall and get personal. And that's kind of what you want to do in these events too, right? You want to not so much spend time about, hey, here's my project, give me money, give me money. No one likes that conversation. It's awkward, and it's not really what you're supposed to be doing anyways. I feel like we do a pretty good job really just making that relationship start, because you want the relationship to last for years to come. Anyways, that was kind of the personal side of how it went for us. Let's see. I've got some other things. Oh, so this is good too. On Friday night, was it Friday night? Thursday night? What night was this? No, it was Friday. So during the day on Friday, we caught up with Leo from Peak and spent lunch with him and talked about other plans going forward. Again, it's helpful to have them on our side, and again, they've been such a great partner in pushing us and having us meet all the right people, like doing all the introductions and being there with us and giving us stage time. But in the evening, we were at a side event, Andy and I. This was one that was, you see the pictures that were up on the, do I have this picture up? No, I go right there. All right. On this slide here, this picture right here, I'm going to get my mouse on. Yeah. That was an event. It was held on top of this building, actually. That was like a big garden overlooking the track where they set up the F1. Anyways, we're at this event, and Mark, who is the founder of Eighth Year, shows up. And I met him and his guy who runs his game team, Paul, in Consensus in Austin a little while back. But he shows up, and I suggested to Andy that we go talk to him, and we did. And Mark's a decent guy. Eighth Year is another project that you don't know that's also in the deep in gaming space. Their technology and their business plan different from ours. But as far as just like having the same goal of bringing people from Web 2 gaming into Web 3 space, not necessarily Web 3 gaming, but just the Web 3 space entirely, and cloud gaming, we have the same goals. So we talked to him about the idea of maybe doing a talk at GDC, the Game Developers Conference, sometime next year, and sharing the stage with ourselves, and maybe even bringing in Shaga as well, and doing like an event at GDC to get the Web3 cloud gaming solutions, the different various versions of them, seen by the larger gaming community, because we really do need to have the gaming industry take notice of us. I mean, they have to take notice of us. We're talking to a few projects, but as a whole, I think it's a good place for us to show our similarities, our difference, and our unity in how we're going to help spread cloud gaming into the next generation of games. So that was a good conversation with Mark. I think the way I look at it is, in the gaming world, you've got PC gamers, you got console gaming, you got mobile, you got Xbox, you got PlayStation, you got Nintendo. There's no reason why the market won't support YOM, Eighth Year, and Shaga all at once. I think we all have, like I said, different use cases and different technology behind us. So we'll coordinate or collaborate in the portions that make sense to us, and maybe that's just educating the broader market. But maybe there's even deeper ties to be built. So that was Friday night. Okay, let me go into Saturday. So Breakpoint was on Friday and Saturday, both. And Breakpoint, if you don't know, was a Solana-only conference, but I mean, it's massive. Solana includes like Bonk, Chonky, Mutai was there. Although all the meme coins, it was a very meme coin heavy conference. We didn't make it there Friday because we were busy with the VCs that we met with and meeting up with Peak. But I did get there on Saturday. Now, Saturday, Star Atlas, the event that we were invited to show off, and let me change the slides here, was the Impact events, Star Atlas. So this is Michael over here, founder and CEO, I believe, of Star Atlas. Good guy. Michael and I have spoken a number of times now. I met him in Austin, New York, met him in Dubai, and then I spent some time with him here this week. So there's a conference, there's a booth of me, showing off my, now this one I did have the node. Again, I had the node running, and this one I showed off more often. More people stopped by and I wanted to see. Mostly I showed it on my phone. Not many people wanted to log into or had to log into our Wi-Fi to play it directly on their phone. So they showed it on mine. But it was, again, a sample game that we asked our partners at MVR to make for us. A very simple experience, but just to show that you can stream on the phone, you get low latency and a pretty good, actually a very good frame rate. So what was I going to say? So the other people there, Metagravity was there. I met two guys down from Shaga. These two guys over here. Guido is from Italy, and Aaron, I think, is from the States. But we talked quite a bit again about the idea of coming to GDC together and kind of showing off together. I think they were, again, what they're doing at Shaga is they're making another device. It's a handheld. It's a way to plug your phone into a handheld device to play games. Again, our business cases are all different because we feel like the best use case is to show up at the internet on the system that you already have and play. Both the other guys are trying to sell devices that are a bit more involved. Anyways, you have to say that the folks at Star Atlas who helped set the booth up before I got there, they put the banner up for us. They gave us a TV. They made sure I had all the right cables and everything. They did a fantastic job, and it was really very easy to set up, and I appreciated that. The Impact event was a steady flow of people, but I wouldn't say it was super crowded. I mean, actually, that picture of me right here, that's early on in the event, so don't count that. It was more crowded than this. This is as soon as I set up, and it was before I think they even opened the doors. But it wasn't like hyper crowded until about happy hour. At about 5 o'clock, they started opening up the bar and having booze served, and of course, then everybody showed up, and it was good. I was there for about an hour still. I had to go to the airport right after this, so stuck around for about an hour during the happy hour. Hung out with Michael some more, and got to show. Actually, before that even happened, I showed their CTO and the other guy, their product manager, the node up and running, and again explained the use cases if we see it for them, and they kind of already know. We've had conversations with all these guys before. What else did I miss? Star Atlas itself as a game looks awesome. Like, it really looks really good. The graphics are crisp. The gameplay looks like fun. I mean, it's the version that I was seeing, because again, Star Atlas is more than a single game. Star Atlas is an entire universe, and it includes the different genres of games, but all kind of colludes into one big universe. The game that was showing off right in front of me, this picture down here, is the first-person shooter version, and they've got some really cool things going on there. Some cool game mechanics that you haven't found. I haven't yet seen another first-person shooter, so it looks really nice. And they were running a tournament. They had like 6 players, 3 on this side and 3 on the other, who were just warring like every 30 minutes or so. They had another round set up. It was pretty nice. Yeah, so I guess that's it. Kind of at about my plane left at 9, so it was about 6. I left the conference hall and made my way to the airport, and after 28 hours of flying and everything, I made it back home. So key takeaways. Let's just get into this real quick, and then I'll take some questions. So some of the key takeaways. There was first of all, the not so great stuff. There are a lot of market makers and marketing companies who use these conferences to bombard projects like ours, to help us, use our services. We'll get you, we'll get you this, we'll get you that. And really, sometimes they're really awkward conversations, because again, they start with the pitch of how they can make you money, as opposed to who are you and what you do. That even before they know what it is that we do or fully understand what we do, they want to start, helping you. They want to get your business, I guess. It's easy for them to come up forward. It's really more difficult for us, and the due diligence on our side is that we have to track to see, have they really ever produced before? Are they a project? Are they a company that's reputable and not just kind of rip you off? And then do they know our market well enough to be able to help us market it? So I got a long list of these guys to go through. It's really better for us and them, I think, if the company that we go to does our market making, those kinds of things. It's been a warm introduction or it's a company with a lot of reputation. And that's kind of, and as I thought about that, and I was writing these notes up, I thought the same thing about ourselves as well. We can go out to VCs and cold pitch them all the time, but it's much better when we get a warm introduction from, say, Peak or Outlier Ventures, who says to a different VC, hey, we like these guys a lot. We're getting involved. You ought to as well. So having Peak around and Outliers opening the doors to us to other VCs is a lot better process than us cold calling or cold introing to other VCs. Now, Andy's good at it anyways, and I'm doing okay. And I shouldn't take it away. Yort's also very good at it. I'm probably, of the three of us, the most awkward about that cold intro to VCs. I'm not horrible at it, but not as good as the two of them. So anyways, it was there's a lot of that goes on, and it's just much better to have a warm intro happen, and it's the same way with marketing companies. The other thing I'd point out is it takes a lot of time to unwind all the data from the trip, right? I've got still a bunch of notes to go through. I've got a lot of these pictures that you see about me, of us, Andy and us, with these people. Many of these pictures are, the play is you introduce, you get into conversation with someone, you feel like there might be some kind of collaboration that can happen. You open up a Telegram group, you take a picture of that person and put it in the Telegram groups. That way, when you go back through your Telegram, you remember who it was you're speaking to, get the name and the faces together. So that's why there's so many of these pictures of us with other people we're talking to. So yeah, I had to go through all these pictures. Obviously, I try to find the guys with the cool beards because we got something immediately to talk about. This dude's beard was stellar. Anyway, there's still a lot to unwind. To say that there's going to be more and more conversations and setting up follow-up calls, and this is how it's been with every conference so far. Immediate results are not there immediately. Although from this conference, I already have to make another visit. It's a drive to one of our bigger investors who wants to see the note of a person he couldn't make out to Singapore. So I've agreed to make a drive out there and see. So I say nothing happens immediately, but that's not really true in this case because I'm going out immediately. The last key takeaway I would say is the crypto industry is really, really massive. In the States, I've said this before, in the States with all the regulations, we're quite a bit hobbled here. And at times, because of where I live out in the middle of almost nowhere in South Carolina, it seems so French. There's not a lot of people here talking about, Web3 stuff or cryptos. But that's because I live where I live and I'm in the States. The rest of the world is taking this technology very seriously. And it's good to go to these conferences and keep that in mind as well. I think this is the last conference I'm going to this year, though I don't rule out the idea of going to either Thailand or Korea, which those are happening, I think, in October and November. But for now, nothing else is on the calendar except for this trip I got to take here sometime this week to show off the node. All right, if there are questions, I'm taking a look inside the Discord and the Telegram. Let me stop sharing this. I'm in the community official Telegram group, and I'm in the Discord. So let's take a look at some of these questions that come up. I knew I'd have one in Discord. Get out of that, and out of that. And where did you go? What did we win for the double XP game night? Yeah, so we won $3,000 worth of marketing services. Haven't figured out where we're going to spend it yet, but there are choices like banner ads, some of the other things that were offered. I actually don't remember the whole list, but we're taking a look at where we want to spend that money, but that's kind of what we got. Other questions right now? It looks like it's pretty quiet in there. Nope, I got somebody typing. I'll give him a second. Good to know. Let's see how many people are watching this. Actually, that's a good. How many people we have? Who do I see it live? Well, YouTube doesn't tell me how many people are watching while it's live. What about X? I don't think X shows me while it's live either. Oh, 106 views. So let's say 106 people are watching right now. That's pretty good. All right, if you haven't gone to the community Telegram group, that's kind of where you want to go if you want to drop a question in. Or maybe I covered it all. I feel like I did a fairly decent job. I looked at all my notes. But open to the idea that maybe I missed something important. Doesn't seem like anybody's going to jump in. All right, well, we'll just end it early. We'll end it there. That was a good 30-minute wrap up. That probably makes it pretty easy for people to digest when they go into and look at the stream video and say, yeah, I can watch 30 minutes of this. So thanks, everybody. I hope that helped out everyone. I'll do again more of these go live streams as community is looking for them, and as we have more information to share. Thanks for paying attention, everybody. We'll see you in the community groups, and go to Singapore if you ever get a chance. Totally worth it. Cheers.